Hello, Aries, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading. We might hold on to that card that wanted to come out. This will be your weekly reading for the week of April 5th through the 11th. During that time, we have a waning gibbous moon, and that's a time of self-reflection and rebirth. Good time for us to make positive changes and to get rid of our bad habits and negative thinking. We then move into the last quarter moon that comes in on the 10th, somewhere around, depending on where you are. And, the third quarter is the time for us to start to realize those things that we've started during the new moon. It's like the end of the cycle here. We're moving towards the end of that cycle. So it's a time for us to kind of reflect, to really reach our full potential on those things that we just started, get rid of totally of negative emotions. And really now we're going to start to think about the waning crescent that comes up, which is just calm and stability and time to think about what we've been doing and what we might want to start when the new moon comes around. So kind of the wrap up, right? So keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Aries. So as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And we are going to take two cards for your overall message. The first one that came out before was take time to breathe out. And the other message for you is to show the world the real you. So take time to breathe out, show the world the real you. Let's see what you guys have going on. Anytime I see that breathe out card, it makes me think, I want to breathe out too. So, all right. My fun weekly reminder this week is that you watch the world for synchronicities. So this could be repeating number patterns. This could be animals that get in your path that you don't normally see. Any of those little synchronistic things, and maybe write those in your spiritual journal if you're coming across those. So I'm going to keep that very brief this week, and let's get right into this reading. So Aries, April 5th through the 11th. Take time to breathe out, show the world the real you. And your overall present energy, Aries, is look at you, 10 of Pentacles. Love this card. Saw it a lot in the readings for last week too. So, your general energy is thinking about things long term. This is long term wealth, security, and I know it's a card of Pentacles, but a lot of times I think not only can this be about wealth, but it's the other things that we're passing on to our family. So you might be thinking about those things, like what are morals, traditions that you might want to pass on, different things, and think about how you're going to do that. So a good time for you to be thinking about that since you're in that energy right now. Your current situation is the King of Swords. So it looks like you're in a very logical frame of mind. I call this our Mr. Spock of the deck. He does everything with a sense of logic. If it doesn't seem logical, we're not going to move forward with it. So that might be the approach that you're taking when it comes to things that have to do long term with, like a legacy, things that you're leaving behind. At the root of your situation, Aries, is the Two of Pentacles. So, you might be in a situation where you do feel like you're kind of juggling and you don't want to do that forever. So maybe you are thinking a little bit more long term when it comes to how can I stop being this guy? How can I not feel like I'm trying to keep it all in the air at one time and try to learn how to relax a little bit. But it looks like and you're using your logic to move through and make those decisions and make changes and make tweaks. So again, we're approaching that full moon. So that's the time to really try things for a change. Maybe, when it comes to your finances, it may be time to put some things on auto pay. Look at some bills that you have and work on your budget, and try to, am I investing correctly? Am I doing all of those things financially that I should be for the long-term benefit and to make my life right now a little bit more relaxing? In your recent past here, Aries, 10 of Cups. So you're coming into this from a very happy place. And look, 2 10s. I love when we have repeating numbers here and you get synchronicities right here on this tarot channel. So 1010, you need to look up that angel number and see if it has any bearing on things that you're going through in your life right now. But yeah, this is happy family. And how do you want to move that into the future? So that's something that's great to be thinking about, honestly. What's on your mind this week is the Hierophant. So you're seeking out some sort of guidance when it comes to this, and of course, this could be why you're at a tarot channel, seeking out guidance for this right now. Like, how do I want to move forward? And my advice for that would be, you really have to assess what your values and your spirituality, what your, I feel like those are areas that really come into play when you're making long-term decisions. And like I said, again, it's not only about money and finances, but it's about emotional well-being, it's about traditions, all of those things that you think, I want to make sure that I'm enriching my kids' lives with, the values that you're bringing in from your past, the things that you've learned from your parents and grandparents, and you want to instill those into your kids as well. So, and your surroundings, so it could be grandkids at this point for some of you. So definitely, I understand seeking out guidance on that, and do that. Go ahead. Like I said, it might be why you're at a tarot reading, but seek out other things as well on how do you do that? How do you build those things? What are the building blocks? What is just ahead of you this week is the strength card. So look at you just being strong and making decisions, and showing that you can have inner strength when it comes to making those decisions. Pretty cut and dried there. On in your advice position here is the star card. Look at a lot of major arcana starting to pop out here on us. So the star card is literally about things being written in the stars. It says to stay on course. This is a card about guidance. So seek out that guidance, and have hope for the future. This is also a card of prosperity, and that's on your mind this week. But this is also, like I said, about watching for those synchronicities. You do have to watch for those signs. What is written in the stars, and what are those signs in the universe that it's dropping you to say, hey, look over here, look at this investment over here, look at this way of being over here when it comes to, look at the examples around you in your life. Look at this family. Don't you, do you want your family to be more like that? How can you emulate, what those people are doing over there? So that sort of thing. Watch for those synchronicities when you're asking the questions, because the universe totally just shows you if you're paying attention. What is beyond your control this week, Aries? Is the Chariot card. So look at you. This is you gathering this information before you're even going to make a move, which of course is very logical of you. So gathering the information again, you're seeking out, you're seeking out the guidance, the advice, and looking for the universe, watching things that are synchronistic to show you the way. And you're getting ready. You're not going to make a big move yet, but there might be some moves afoot. Again, we're heading towards that new moon, which is a good time. The beginning of a new moon is a good time to start new things and start new ways of being. So it's like you're gathering that information and that momentum to make those tweaks so that when that new moon comes, you're like, okay, this month I'm going to try this thing. So good for you. What is your secret desire? What are you trying to avoid? Is the Hanged Man. Is this a new perspective? So now look at all the major arcana. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anytime I have 3 or more, I think it's kind of a major week. Some weeks just kind of go along, and life is kind of as is. But I feel like you're really examining something pretty hard for some reason this week in the Aries Collective. Uh, Again, is it long term the best long term way to lead your family? Very, very well could be. But I hope that is your secret desire to have a new perspective, because a new perspective means that you are looking for those signs in the universe. You are learning things from the guidance that you're getting, because it will change your perspective. I don't think you're trying to avoid a new perspective, but some of you might be, and you do need to think about that. That's the position of this card is always kind of your big question of the week. So are you, or do you want to have a new perspective on things, or are you just trying to avoid that? To me, your cards tell me that it's totally something that you do want to do, is have a new perspective. You're trying to learn. In your outcome position is the 2 of Cups. So, after all of this, you come together with someone to maybe converse, to talk about this. This could be your partner in life. This could be a parent. This could be someone that you trust. This could be a friend, and you're having conversations about this, so, and that's kind of, maybe you're coming together with things that you've learned and saying, hey, recently I've learned this thing, and I think I'm going to try this in my life. I'm going to try to, instill this particular value in some particular way with my kids, or my grandkids. So think about that and kind of look for that person. Who is that person that you would get together and compare notes with? I also now want to point out that you do have 1010 under there, but now you also have 22. So look up angel number 22. I think that was our only repeaters. What is hidden from you, Aries? Is the Sun card, which is your ultimate happiness card. But look, it's there. It's almost like telling you that You're not quite there yet, but when you follow these steps and follow this course and be thinking this big, I mean, I do think this is very big thinking for you this week, that it does lead to your ultimate happiness. And even though you might not be there yet, I think it's just showing you that that's definitely a place where you can arrive and you can achieve that. I love the look of this entire reading, though. And yeah, thinking big is a great way to be. So take time to breathe out, show the world the real you, even as you're discovering it. I mean, that's something we're doing, all of us, every day. I mean, I'm still discovering my real self, right? That is the thing. I think until our deathbed, we are, oh, that's how I am. I'm learning that about myself. So that's fun to be continually learning. All right, let's get to a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck and the Creative No. So there might be something this week that you do need to say no to so that you can have the time to focus on this. I'm not seeing the Hermit. You're not going to be completely hermiting yourself off to do this thinking. And I do think you're out in the world and just kind of taking notes of things and looking at bigger pictures of things. But there might just be some things that you need to say no to when it comes to this plan. It might be that you're looking back through your family past and you're like, you know what, here's the thing that I don't want to bring into the future with me. And so kind of being creative about that, looking and thinking, are there habits that you don't want to instill in your kids that you bring in from your past? So maybe those are things that you can start to change, right? Let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care this week, Aries. Self-care for Aries this week. And the card for you is the card called Pamper. I love this card personally. Self-care is a necessity, not a luxury. So do take care of yourself this week as you're going through all these big picture things. Take time to make sure that you're sleeping well, eating well, exercising, doing all those mental health things, but also those physical things. If you take vitamins, make sure you're taking your supplements and all that sort of things. But making sure that your mental and physical health is just at the peak so that you can be the best example for the people around you. So, Aries, thank you so much for being here. I really hope that there's something in your life that you can take away and use in a positive way in this reading. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below. Let me know if this resonated with you this week and in what way. It'll be different for different Aries, of course. But, let me know if this resonated and if these are things, bigger picture things that are on your mind this week. I'd be very curious to know. Also, if you like my reading style, hitting like and subscribe helps me, and I appreciate that so much. So thank you in advance for doing that. And once again, thanks for being here, Aries. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.